apologize. My request to speak function failed, so I apologize for interrupting without that mechanism. I want to speak to the motion, if I may, or speaking to the resolution.
Delegate Gilbert, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would encourage the members to defeat the resolution. The members are well aware that we have sort of staked out a position that the constitutionally contemplated and mandated 30-day time frame that is in the Virginia Constitution is appropriate this year, despite the history, despite the custom and practice. This is an unprecedented year for us. This is the strangest time that any of us can remember, not only in our lives, but especially in terms of those who have served here for any length of time in the conduct of the legislature. We spent approximately 150 days in session last year, 84 of which, I believe, more or less, were in special session, ostensibly to tweak the budget, to address the pandemic. I think we spent much of that time focusing on what our colleagues call criminal justice reform and police reform, almost exclusively focused on those areas rather than focusing on the pandemic first and foremost and the budget. The budget seemed like it was sort of an afterthought, but we did address it. We addressed it just about 2 months ago now. We made substantial changes to the state budget. So to suggest that we need to spend an entire off year 45 days that we have in the past to address mainly that budget, that's mainly the purpose we come back in the off years historically. It's not to pass all manner of legislation. It's to address the budget and see that changes are keeping up with times. But again, we just did that 2 months ago. So the idea that we need to spend all this time doing that, I think, is just incorrect. These are very unfortunate times. We are dealing with a global pandemic. We have been relegated to conducting this session, the people's business in this virtual environment because of that pandemic. I think we have seen and will continue to see, despite the best efforts of both sides and even of you, Madam Speaker, we appreciate what you've done to try to make this process work more smoothly. I think that despite those best efforts, the best we can do in this environment is simply not up to what the expectations of the public should be about how to conduct business, about how to make them able to access their legislators and the legislative process, about how to allow legislators ourselves to function as the Constitution contemplates in carrying out our legislative duties. So I would suggest that if there was ever a year, Madam Speaker, in which we should stick to what the Constitution contemplates, which is 30 days, it is absolutely this one. And so to extend the session beyond that, I think, is unnecessary. I think it provides a lot of room for further criticism of government that we don't need right now. And there will be a time when this abates, when we find the opportunity to come out of this cloud that we're under and once again do our jobs in person in the right way. But until then, I think stringing this out for 45 days is unnecessary. And I would again ask the members to defeat the resolution, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Delegate Gilbert. The delegate from Arlington, Delegate Lopez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Speaking to the resolution.
Delegate Lopez, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As of today, according to VDH, Virginia Department of Health, COVID-19 data that they supply us every day, we have over 412,000 cases of COVID-19 in Virginia, and an additional 4,598 since yesterday. We've confirmed over 19,000 hospitalizations due to the pandemic and 144 since yesterday. And there have been 5,552 deaths in Virginia and 75 since yesterday. Despite moving forward, thankfully, on the vaccine, Virginians are still getting sick, but our Republican colleagues want to work less. Families need a hand up, but our Republican colleagues want to work less. Small businesses are hurting, but our Republican colleagues want to work less. This is not a time for political gamesmanship. This is a time for governing. Our constituents and all Virginians deserve better than cynical ploys and obstruction. Our Republican colleagues say we don't have time to solve the challenges our Commonwealth faces, and yet they're the ones attempting to cut the session short by a third. I respectfully would say, Madam Speaker, that if Republicans have a better place to be, they should let the rest of us do our job. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Delegate Lopez. The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Sickles.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to speak to the resolution.
Delegate Sickles, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. For the purpose of informing the public of Virginians far and wide what has been routine procedure for conducting business, we have long and short sessions in our citizen legislature. Our so-called long session is 60 days, which is shorter than any other state than Utah. We pass a 2-year budget in that first year. The second year short session has been a 46-day session as a practical matter ever since the current Constitution was enacted in 1972. This is the first time that the minority wants to change that. This resolution, as the leader said, passes without debate. It's a routine resolution. And I can assure the public that these sessions, both long and short, are undertaken at breakneck speed in the best of conditions. Today, our conditions are far from routine, despite our extraordinarily productive special session, which, by the way, was critical for many reasons, including addressing COVID-related impacts, but is not a substitute or an excuse for shirking our duties today. And I like a citizen legislature. This has been an unusual year. I would love to get everything done and right in the next 30 days. For my first 17 years here, this was routine. We passed this without debate. The short session has been extended every year. So if we fail to pass this resolution with a 2/3 vote, it will be the first time, as I said, under the current Constitution. And now, in the middle of the pandemic, as the gentleman just said, we are waiting for guidance from the federal government on how we can use billions of relief they are sending down to the state. And now's the time to go to 30 days when we have to decide how to spend this. Now's the time to vote down this routine procedural resolution when we have a reforecast before us of $1.3 billion added to our current revenues. Now's the time to just let the administration do it, just leave decisions to the executive branch. I say no. In our long special session, we took steps that were long overdue, but I didn't work every one of those 84 days, Madam Speaker. And if you recall, the other body would only work sometimes 1 day or 2 days a week. And so it wasn't exactly like the 30 to 45 to 46 days that we're going to face in the immediate future. So what does the public want? The public wants us to get things right. They want us to take the normal time to get the job done. That's all they want. They want us to do oversight. They want us to do our job. It's hard enough in 46 days. Please vote aye for the resolution. Thanks, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Delegate Sickles. The delegate from Montgomery, Delegate Hurst.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Speaking to the resolution.
Delegate Hurst, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I would echo the comments from my colleagues from Alexandria and Arlington and support this resolution. We do not want to be in this situation, meeting virtually. Nobody wants to do this. We are doing this out of necessity. And if we thought that we could get out of this pandemic in just a year, boy, have we been sorely mistaken. As has been repeated already, 4,598 new cases of COVID-19 in Virginia just in the last day. And I can tell you, as someone who talks frequently, because she happens to be my girlfriend who works at an emergency room in Southwest Virginia, who contracted COVID-19 herself while she was working, she has now told me that hospitals have no more room for patients, that we're putting patients in wheelchairs, in hallways, trying to find them a bed. We have had colleagues succumb to this disease. It's a once-in-a-century moment. The majority party is here to rise to that moment and deliver for the people of Virginia. It was said by the minority leader that we are not a professional legislature. We're not a professional legislature. We may be a citizen legislature, but to say we're not a professional legislature is a smack in the face to the millions of Virginians who are counting on us to be professional during this time. And being professional during this time means meeting virtually, even though it's not ideal. It means increasing access to the public by being able to have them meet with us either in Richmond or in our local jurisdictions. I'm here in town, not 3 hours away, this General Assembly session. So in terms of access to local officials, my constituents have better access to me during session than they've ever had before. This is a game. And to reduce the amount of time that we have to do the people's business is to say that we are not a professional legislature. Well, I think the time has come to say that we are being professionals, at least on the majority side. We are being professionals, trying to be professional, doing the people's business. And that takes more than 30 days. It takes what we have done every year for the last 50 years. It takes 46 days. And you know what? I anticipate that we are going to get the people's business done, because at least on this side of the aisle, we want to be professional. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Delegate Hurst. Shall the resolution be agreed to? Madam Clerk.
I'll now call the names of those who I do not see voting. Delegate Brewer. Delegate Gilbert.
No.
Delegate Gilbert votes nay. Delegate Hodges.
Nay.
Delegate Hodges votes nay. Delegate Hope.
Aye.
Delegate Hope votes aye. Delegate Leftwich.
No.
Delegate Leftwich votes nay. Delegate Marshall.
No.
Delegate Marshall votes nay. Delegate Munden King.
Aye.
Delegate Munden King votes aye. Delegate Williams Graves.
Aye.
Delegate Williams Graves votes aye. Delegate Wilt.
Nay.
Delegate Wilt votes nay. Delegate Brewer.
Nay.
Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk.
Ayes 55,
Madam-
nays.
No, Madam Clerk. Delegate Brewer indicated her vote.
Delegate Brewer, your vote was?
Nay.
Delegate Brewer votes nay.
The clerk will please close the roll.
Ayes 55, nays 45, abstentions 0.
Ayes 55, nays 45, abstentions 0. The resolution is rejected.